All right. Welcome, everyone, to Fraud Fact Friday. We are testing the live version. This is my first time live on LinkedIn, my first time live in general. So if anybody hops on, not even sure if anybody's going to hop on, but if anybody hops on, let me know if you can hear me okay, if everything's working all right, how the stream is, trying out a new streaming tool. So all those things could be a little bumpy. But let's see how it goes. First version, or first episode, Fraud Fact Friday, live. And I have with me my go-to guy. I'm going to bring him in now. You there? Can you hear me, Michael?
Yes. Hey, David, how are you?
Perfect. Fine, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So haven't gotten any feedback so far, at least that I can see on the comments, if people can actually hear us.
Okay.
Could be funny if they can't, I guess.
Right. We'll do some miming or something. Exactly.
Yeah. But hey, thanks for being my go-to guy when I'm trying out these new formats of, back in 2018 when I started the podcast, you were my first interview. We tried out the video format for Fraud Fact Friday, and that's all been pretty fun. So thanks for coming on again here live.
Yeah, of course. No, great to be here. Always great collaborating with you, for sure. And like you said, this is live, anything goes. So even dogs barking, my door could open at any point in time. I'm not sure. So
Yeah, I hung a sign up on mine, but we'll see how it
Okay.
works.
Yeah. No, we're definitely excited. To everyone listening too, we're really interested in some feedback, now during the stream if possible, or afterwards as well. So, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely look forward to it.
the whole point is to keep the conversation going about different fraud schemes that might be out there, fraud fighting techniques. That was the whole point of jumping on the Fraud Fact Friday hashtag. It's been a lot of fun. I started posting to it at the beginning of June every week, doing mostly text posts, but trying out video. And it's just to get the conversation going, keep the awareness going about some of the different schemes out there, some of the things going on. Yeah. So it's supposed to
Yeah, a
be
lot of
fun. Supposed to
material.
be
A lot of material you have, right?
supposed to be fun. Supposed to be informative. So if anybody out there listening does want to join, let me know, and we can do another episode live. The goal is to take it live every week at some point. That's how I actually got access to the LinkedIn Live streaming service. I pitched it to LinkedIn in the application, very detailed, and said, hey, this could be an interesting topic for the LinkedIn audience. Fighting fraud prevention. And 8 weeks later, it took about 8 weeks, but they gave me access and here we are.
Fantastic. Yeah, great
Yeah.
platform.
So if you are tuning in, leave a comment where you're tuning in from. We'd be happy to hear from you. If you have a question for Dr. Fraud, we'll try and keep an eye on it. It's all new to us here. So I got a couple screens open. Right now, I don't see any comments. It's hard to tell, though. We'll see. So, Dr. Fraud, let's start there. This is a question I actually asked you back in 2018 when we did our first interview. How did this name come about, Dr. Fraud? You do actually have a doctor title, right?
Correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, academic. Correct. Academic.
Very involved in academics?
Legit. Yeah, very much so. So
Okay.
that's kind of. So yeah, two answers, I guess, to that. The literal version and the theoretical version. So the theory behind Dr. Fraud, it's kind of a second personality, I call it, or my colleagues do, and it's really just born from myself. Early on in my career, I got burned. I was kind of working as a trainee, and I was just blatantly lied to on a claim I was handling, and it just bothered me so much. I wasn't naive at that point. I had some big cases, but it just really bothered me at my core to the point that it ended, continues, I should say, where I am now, 25 years later, just fighting crime, and that's kind of what Dr. Fraud represents. Is one, I was always interested in the motivation aspects about, like why this person burned me, but also organizations. And the second part of that is I see just such so many opportunities within organizations to really, find those gaps and prevent it from a motivational standpoint. So that's like the theoretical answer.
Okay.
Literal answer is I was actually speaking in Vienna, and my colleague, Giovanni, very, very Italian, of course, he had a hard time saying my last name, Skiba. So he was
Okay.
introducing me, Dr. Skiba on a fraud topic, etc. Well, he was so nervous when he did it that it came out kind of all together. So it kind of sounded like Dr. Fraud, Skiba, whatever. And I started to get feedback immediately after with the title Dr. Fraud. And it was kind of interesting because I was thinking at the same time, in the States, we have Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz. So it kind of, it just evolves from that, again, into the theoretical aspect of it as well. But
Okay.
right to the point, I have a full registered trademark and everything on it. So it's kind of
All
a
right.
alter identity, if you will. So
Cool. So
yeah.
really quick, I got some feedback here. We are good on the sound and
Perfect.
some thumbs up. So it's looking good. And greetings to Stanley, Joseph, Jules, Matt, a few other people on board here. So that's
Great.
fun, Patrizia. So it's working. So we can relax on the technical side of things.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you for that story. Now everyone knows why you're called Dr. Fraud. Our last interview was a couple months back. We talked about the internal fraudster and motivations behind that. What have you been up to the last couple months?
Yeah, so that was a great conversation too, and it's still on organizations' radar.
Yeah.
Internal fraud, and I think probably since we last chatted 6 months, I've been on the road quite a bit. I think been to about 4 different continents and different areas, and the thing I love about that is just getting the cross section of what's going on. What's common, what's not, what's working, what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, takeaways everywhere that I've been, but most recently, fresh in my mind, last week I was at an event called the Fraude Film Festival.
Okay.
It was in Amsterdam, Netherlands. I don't know if you've heard of this, maybe.
I did. Yes, definitely. Yeah, I saw your post about it.
Okay.
But I unfortunately couldn't attend. It seems like a very interesting format, though.
Yeah, and it's and I'm sure you've been to film festivals before. It's very similar to that. So it wasn't focused on financial crime at all. It was actually a festival, tackling global issues. So there were segments on human trafficking, child
Mm-hmm.
labor, internet privacy. So ours was a very small piece, I would say maybe of 20 different, very broad, global, significant topics discussed. And boy, I got to tell you, it was really fantastic just, talking with these people in different industries. And we were there, we presented a film and I keynoted, and we had some really good discussions because the audience, different audience, there were some
Yeah.
fraud fighters there, but again, people from human trafficking and whatnot. And, believe it or not, there are some commonalities in a lot of the stuff that we do from a, I'd say criminal or even psychological perspective. But yeah, fantastic event, great format as well. So, but as far as like the takeaways there, I know you kind of asked that question, kind of what's new. I think, from that perspective, I think a lot of the discussions now continue. What you and I spoke about a little while ago is technology. Still, no matter what industry you're in, what area, what social, issue you're trying to tackle, technology seems to, just be weaving its way in, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
from a, criminal perspective or even from a prevention perspective,
Yeah.
even, just ways to leverage that. And like you and I spoke about many times, and that was the whole point of your original Buzz Talk was just talking about technology and kind of where things are going with it. So it's interesting. It was interesting for me to see that in just so many different, different areas. So
Yeah. Okay. So you'd recommend the Fraud Film Festival next year?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And they're
Okay.
looking to I think, replicate that format, in different venues as well. So they were talking about even coming to the States.
Oh, that would be
I
cool.
think I think they will continue next year with, being in the Netherlands, at maybe in Amsterdam, maybe another location. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just a great event for any colleagues that are, even in the area. It's definitely worth attending because it's more of a, like I said, a social. It's a very social focused event. So, very interesting too to see again how we fit. The financial crime fighters out there.
Yeah.
How valuable we are. How much how just how many insights that we have that are just useful to even other areas because we have all the software and all these capabilities and tools that we can bring to the table that quite honestly maybe aren't even leveraged yet in other
Yeah, that's why we need the
circles.
platforms to get the information out.
Absolutely. Right.
Uh,
Right. 100%. Yep.
all right.
Yep.
So we talked briefly about your academic background. What's going on in that arena? Are you doing any cool studies at the moment? What's the research focus at the moment in the fraud fighting space, economic crime space?
Yeah, so that's what's interesting. I think I love about where I sit is because I wear that academic hat as well. So as
Yeah.
department chair, I can kind of take all the stuff we do on that end and insert it into the fraud fighting. So I think one of the hottest things we're working on now is a coalition study. We're doing a partner study with the Coalition Against Insurance Fraud. So this is we've been getting, I would say, data for about a year in feeds from them. And this is information they have been capturing for, I think, going back almost 15 years on fraud prosecutions. So if you can imagine,
Okay.
I mean, it's real robust. I think we had probably 50,000 data sets in here. So what I did was I leveraged some of my faculty. We have a full research team on this, a full white-collar economic crime research team, diving into the data. What we hope to do is by December, presenting this at their board meeting in Maryland with some findings. And what we're looking to do is really pick apart, on a regional level. So this was a domestic study, so it's going to be, U.S. applicable, but
Okay.
still, I think there's going to be a lot of information we can draw from other areas. But we're looking at developing patterns, as far as prosecution and related to area, let's say, or type of crime or demographic of offender. So there's just a lot of things in there. If you can
Yeah.
imagine, it's almost like you see a movie and like Indiana Jones and it opens up, the treasure opens, and it's like you kind of don't know what to grab first. So we're
Okay.
trying to focus on the bigger items, the
Yeah.
Holy Grail and things like that first before we get into it. So stay tuned for that. But there's going to be a lot of really, really cool stuff that we can grab and leverage and for future video or podcast, we can definitely explore. So, but
Cool.
yeah, definitely good stuff on the horizon there for sure.
Okay. Going back to your psychology roots, might help with the next question. I've seen a lot lately on LinkedIn, articles I'm reading, some research, that fraudsters are not always bad people, or often not bad people. It's good people making bad decisions. This might get a little too philosophical, but what's your take on that sentiment? Is that good people making bad decisions? How do you see that?
Yeah, that's a deep question. I think, and it's funny because that came up at the Fraude Film Festival. I was actually asked that question on our panel.
Oh, okay.
Kind of bridging the gap, because this was towards the end, and after we had viewed all these different, and discussed these different social issues, and the commonality I see, of course, it's all about the type, being a criminologist. And studying motivational aspects behind this, what I would say the answer to that would be twofold. One, there's always that what I call the hardcore. I know there's different profiles developed, very academic, but I kind of just use as a general guys two buckets. The hardcore,
Yeah.
the opportunistic. We've all, I'm sure you've heard these before too.
Yeah.
Hardcore criminals. I've dealt with them, talked with them, interviewed them, and they're at their core. Yeah, they're definitely bad news folks. I mean. I was involved in a situation in Latin America where, I was threatened, I think, almost daily to a very extreme degree.
Okay.
I had, when I went into the office one day, I had a nice little fake coffin where I usually sit, with my name inside. Things like this, very disturbing. So when you're dealing with people like that, that's a whole different animal. That's where you have organized criminals and ties overseas. It's very, very dangerous. But the second question, right, is right. There's the other group, the opportunistic folks. Where is their core? What I will say is, I draw on some research, that I feel is very significant, focusing on how 30% of people are honest, 30 are dishonest, and 40 are in the middle. That situational honesty. So think about it. You have 70% of the population that could be skewed, right, at any point in time. So. And in my opinion, it's all based on the threshold. Everyone has that moral compass, that point at which they know it just doesn't feel right. In studies and academics we do on plagiarism and things show that people lie up to the point they still feel good. So whatever that threshold is for a person, it's different.
Okay.
So it really depends. I think that 70% statistics tells me that there is always a degree of deception in the majority of us. It's just a matter of what could actually trigger that. Maybe some external factor, an opportunity, or maybe a slight push factor as well. So
Okay.
So yeah, it depends, in my opinion, on the profile, the profile of the person we're looking at.
Yeah. All right. Coming back to maybe a seasonal thing, when you go shopping now, you see all on the one side, the enormous display of Christmas decorations. You got some enormous displays of Halloween decorations. That just means that the holiday shopping season is upon us. Fraudsters don't take a holiday.
Right.
In fact, typically fraud schemes increase during the holiday season. What are some things that people should be looking out for, or is there a specific scheme that you see increase during the holiday season, whether it's in the banking area, in insurance area? What are some things to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, this holiday season just brings a lot of additional opportunity, really for the scammers, and really, because people are, they're heightened. There's a little heightened anxiety level with gifting and shopping. I mean, shopping goes up 75% that time of year. So, I mean, you just have more data out there, more traffic, on the internet and other areas. So that just breeds additional opportunities for scammers. But yeah, I think this is just such an interesting time of year. And I think, going back to just again, focusing on the technology aspect of it, absolutely. I think people really, really should look into or just keep their guard up a little more. Perfect example I've seen lately is, phishing scams, like getting emails. Like, for example, how many things do you maybe ship, David, during Christmas? I mean, at least
a lot.
Right. Okay. So a lot. Right. So
yeah,
I mean,
it increases with the holiday season. So it's, it wouldn't be odd, to receive some kind of email about a package. I receive emails about packages all the time.
Right. So that would be a phishing scam. You get an email pop up, you're busy, you're going on your day, and it says, hey, click here for your tracking information or your updated, product. Yeah. You click it, it's phishing scam. All of a sudden they're latching onto your data. It's just that easy to do. So sometimes just creating that awareness that it's there. And even fake websites. I've seen a lot of traffic increase this time of year with fake websites, going in and, you do an Amazon search for something, a pen, and then all of a sudden, the next minute, a bunch of other sites come up. Key with those is, and they could be the same product, but half the price. So that should be the number one indicator, right?
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true.
Yeah.
So that's one flag. Take a look at the website. A lot of times you'll find even simple things like misspellings. A lot of these are not native English speakers, so you'll have, just grammar errors and spelling errors and things like that. And that's the second flag immediately, right there. So again, just some behavioral things just to kind of stop for a minute and take a look and maybe stick with the more credible sites and, just to credible emails even.
Yeah, and when you say behavioral changes or behavioral being aware of what you're doing, getting a little old-fashioned, just the simple things. Here in Germany, the Christmas markets Christmas markets are huge and they're crowded. Yeah. So having your wallet in your back pocket is probably not the best idea. But just recently, a colleague of mine had her wallet stolen. The purse was hanging on the back of her seat, and had the eye off of it in a restaurant where you think, okay, it's all safe. I'm in a restaurant. The waiter came over. Is that your purse over there on the ground? Wallet was not in there. Wallet gone, money gone. The good news is the wallet showed up in the mail. Somebody found it probably in a trash can, and just the cash was missing. But still, you have to change your cards and things like that. So being aware of your surroundings, because the following story was, I had the same thing with my jacket on the back. Somebody took my wallet out, and So some of the little things, keeping an eye on your things when you're out in crowded spaces, buying those holiday presents.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly right. I mean, things is, we call it back to basics. It's
yeah,
just back to basics. And there's two things too is, with that example, I mean, that is but back to basics as you can get. But then there's the next tier of, okay, the technology back to basics. And just to tag along with that, you have a credit card. Number one rule, in our financial crime space, do not let the credit card out of your sight ever. I mean, it's so important because these machines, I mean, they're the size of not even a pen that can grab your information in under a second,
yeah,
and a cashier, anyone can just, even I've even seen it. I've seen footage where, a really good cashier will in front of you even do it, grab your thing and then just, kind of the old bait and switch, just, hey,
yeah.
sign here, and they bring attention to something else and they'll just scan it right through. So just really being aware when you do hand that credit card over that, on the black market, your personal information is just, I mean, that's how they fund their Christmas gifts is
Yeah,
through,
of course.
through their scam. So,
Yeah.
just situational awareness, things like that, believe it or not, really could have effect. There's no doubt.
Yeah, another thing I saw, actually, it's the cool thing about having the Fraud Fact Friday series is people are sending me stuff. Have you seen this? This could be something for that, for the Fraud Fact Friday. And so someone sent me a video, and it was the cards with the wave symbol on it, the RFID symbol,
Yep.
that it's, no touch payments.
Yep. Right.
Just need to get close
Yeah.
enough. There was a video here in Germany. A guy went around with a machine and his smartphone, just a little remote machine, and held it up close to
Yep.
the back pocket of someone, and sure enough, it made a transaction.
Yep.
And so people were shocked when it happened, and so it's again, maybe just keeping your wallet in your front pocket. It's probably not the best fashion look, but
Right.
being aware of your surroundings and knowing what's in your wallet and knowing where your wallet is and things like that. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
because once they have your data, it's tough to get out of. We've
Right.
seen it tons of times.
Yep, gets in the
Yeah.
circle. Absolutely, absolutely. And I think now too, if you have, so credit card companies have done a good job, in my opinion, of really keeping up. I mean, we had the chips. I mean, that's fantastic, that technology. But what you have now is you have the criminals now. They see how harder it is to get
Yeah.
actual credit card information. So what they'll do is they're actually looking for, like a social security number. They'll look to actually open up a fake credit card
Yeah.
in and of itself. That's where they're moving now.
Yeah.
So, and to get that, they need some personal information. So that's where that draw is there on the black market for that now. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, just simple behavioral, situational awareness will absolutely pay dividends. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So, where I know we had agreed upon in advance a little bit about 20-25 minutes. We're coming to a close on our time. Anything else you wanna add from your side? Anything exciting coming from the fraud fighting space? Otherwise, I think we can wrap up. I had a hard time, I have to say, viewing the comments. If anything came in, we'll definitely be on the. People can watch this after it's done being live, so feel free to comment then. And if we miss some comments, we'll go back and address them afterwards. But yeah, I'll hand it over to you if you want to say anything else. Otherwise, I think that was a pretty fun first Fraud Fact Friday live.
Absolutely. No, thank you. No final words except for great platform. Looking forward to the comments. And if we can expand on anything, David and I are available on LinkedIn directly too. So feel free to message us.
One thing. So you've got some experience on stage, bigger audiences. So this is no big deal for you jumping on here. This is my first live experience, things like that.
Great.
So,
Yeah.
so what would you say to people that maybe have some good insights to share? Encourage them to jump on. I mean, I'm going to be looking to get a different range of people on here, and so what would you say to get people to come on?
Yeah, I would say, these platforms are so valuable. I mean, you wouldn't believe. I mean, even just getting it just in my travels, how many people that I just don't even know will say, hey, I saw that podcast platform post or something. So you're really doing something for the community. So I would say number one message, don't hesitate to get involved. It's not scary, right? I mean, nothing happened.
I
Nobody
was a
busted through
little
the door.
scared.
It was, yeah, but you survived. Everybody, I mean, it's really, everything that has happened on stage has happened to me, believe me. And everyone, all my colleagues, the public speakers will say the same, tripping, getting sick. I mean, it happens and I'm still here talking, right? I mean, what's the worst that could happen? That's what I say. But no, absolutely. I would say just really get involved. There's much more benefit that can be given to the community when when we're communing and sharing ideas. And, David, you and I mean, you're all over LinkedIn as well. We love comments and because we just take them seriously and we talk to our audience and our followers. And it's just so important. We believe, I know how passionate you are about this as am I. And there's a lot of other colleagues out there. Let's all just stay connected and share the words, if you will. So if anyone's interested, they can also comment and say, hey, I would like to share this on a live Fraud Fact Friday, and we'll set something up. Absolutely. Yeah, but no, great job. This was fun. I look forward to some feedback. So
perfect.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Michael, for your time, and we'll be in touch.
Sounds good.
Signing off.
Have a great weekend, everyone.